Hello everyone and welcome back to round 2 of the F124 driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here on the Jeddah Corniche for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Bahrain, I would highly recommend going back and checking out our first ever race as a Ferrari Formula 1 driver, and it went quite well in the end, despite Lewis Hamilton being a maniac and the McLaren drivers hunting me down right towards the end of the afternoon. We got a podium on our debut, which, honestly, I'm pretty happy with. Charles Leclerc absolutely dominated most of the weekend in the end. 25 points on the board for our teammate. So, currently, Ferrari lead both championships. But yes, we return to Jeddah, though, this weekend. Of course, we know this circuit, anything really can happen. So, it'll only be a matter of time before we wait and see how really competitive the car is on a few different aspects. Now, of course, where upgrades are so limited this season, we're already having to put a big effort into trying to make sure that we are on top of them as early as we possibly can throughout the season. So we're doing a fuel efficiency upgrade this weekend, which will hopefully keep us in line with McLaren as well. It's going to be really difficult for some of the back market teams to keep up with performance over the course of the year, but it'll just make it more impressive if that's what they're able to do. Of course, if you're new around here and you aren't already, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel as well, and also, of course, happy memories from this circuit, because we won here last season. It was my penultimate win for Haas Formula 1 team. Could we go back-to-back here in Jeddah?
Hello and a very warm welcome to practice. There is plenty to get to grips with here at the fastest street circuit of them all. There's no margin for error here at the Jeddah Corniche.
Well, early on then this season, we're just going to be looking to try and build up some consistency, you know, make sure that we're picking up good, solid results week in and week out. I mean, we are a Ferrari driver. It's a decent Ferrari car. I see no reason why, well, apart from engine failures or something like that, why we can't score points pretty much every weekend. Then again, you would have said the same about Ferrari IRL this year, and look how well that's gone for Charles Leclerc in recent weeks. Has scored, well, had a disastrous run of not really scoring points in the last few rounds. But yeah, as we make our way though out of free practice, it's always nice as well just to earn a bit of R&D, build up that confidence. It will also be interesting to see how Charles Leclerc fares this weekend. Obviously, back in Bahrain, he was a bit lucky in many ways. Obviously, the Verstappen and Alonso fought so hard early on, just allowed him to break free from those drivers and never really was put under pressure once again. Here at Jeddah, you're not very likely to be able to run away like that. Green score immediately on the board, though. I'll take it. I'd also just like to take a moment to thank everybody for the insane support on the opening round of this new season. You know, F124, the hype for it is kind of waning at the moment. Obviously, we've had the recent first sales figures for the game, and it really didn't do as well as I'm sure EA had hoped either. Maybe released a fully finished product, first of all. But, yeah, massive thank you to everybody that is still enjoying this series. Purple score there. It's time for qualifying.
Welcome to Jeddah Corniche, one of the fastest circuits on the calendar, but let's see who will be the fastest of them all. It's time to set the grid for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Yes, it's time for qualifying.
Well, jumping straight into Q2 then here from Jeddah. Q1 we were able to make it through very easily on the medium compounded tyres, so yeah, not really much point in showcasing too much of that. This is where things though really start to get interesting, especially if we see some of the other teams outside of the Big Five delivering big qualifying performances. So much fun in this car though. It's got a willingness to tip itself into corners like we've never seen before on this game. I'm not suggesting that the Haas was a bad car, but I am suggesting that is the case, and this Ferrari is in another league there. Purple straight away through Sector 1. We've got a lot of pace this weekend. Maybe, just maybe, our first Ferrari pole could be right around the corner. Well, purple through Sector 1. I think we were purple again through Sector 2 here. The current benchmark is against Carlos Sainz on a 29.5. As we make our way through the final corner, I think we're about to obliterate that. I think we're about to go way down into at least the low 28s, maybe even a high 27. 28.0 puts us fastest on the board. I used no battery, no overtake mode on that lap either, and I think we've gone and put about 6/10 on Lando Norris. Well, there we go then, taking a look at our final Q2 results. Yeah, I mean, they got a bit closer. Lando Norris only quarter of a second away in the end, as Carlos Sainz once more leaves Lance Stroll out in Q2. But yeah, this car is on another level around this circuit. I reckon high 27s is definitely doable. I also don't think the AI use hot lap here. As I've mentioned in other races as well, though, I can't make the AI any quicker on this game. We're up to 110 AI, so whatever pace they've got here is whatever pace they've got here. I'd like to see them maybe sneak into the 27s. We saw the AI able to aggressively improve right towards the end of qualifying in Bahrain. I definitely feel way more confident, though, in the car this weekend. This is really good at the moment. They're trying to get the car down as close to the inside wall as you possibly can, as you then try and run it right up against the wall on the exit of turn 12 as well. There it is, an attacking lap, but this car is one that we've seen come alive on street circuits with the hand of Charles Leclerc in the past. And are we seeing a new Ferrari star as well here tonight? Only time will tell as we make our way into that final sector. 6 tenths up currently on the benchmark set. Well, the time we're chasing is Fernando Alonso, so this would be right on the cusp of a 1 minute 27. Don't know whether it'd be good enough for pole just yet. We haven't quite seen what the other time set by the other drivers is. So a little bit of a lock up through that final corner. Really the first mistake I've made all session. Power down up towards the line though. Shortest run back towards the flag. It is only a 28.2. That puts us P3, sorry. Leclerc has dipped into the 27s. Well, you've really got to try and savour these moments in the world of Formula 1. You don't get many opportunities to drag a Ferrari car around a circuit like this. For all we know, it might be the only opportunity I ever get, depending on whether I do a good enough job over the rest of the season. But we need about another quarter of a second here. We want to try and really challenge our teammate Charles Leclerc. Oh, a bit ragged through the first couple of corners there. Luckily, we straighten out the rear end. And we keep the power down as time's continuing to improve. Leclerc finds another 100th of a second. That could be the difference maker here, as Sergio Perez now goes to the top of the board. So the Mexican clearly feeling confident in his Red Bull car as well, though. We're about a tenth and a half down coming into sector 1, and other times are improving as well. Are we just now finally starting to see the AI getting into the swing of things here as well? Nudge the wall out through turn 12. Luckily, it didn't seem to cost us much at all. Pretty much even then with my previous best time there, is absolutely fling the car over the curbs. The back end always wants to try and break through there. But luckily that time around we were able to hang on to it. Line of least resistance down this back straight. You're spotting the black box on the outside. Purple through the middle sector. Oh, just about hanging on the curbs on the exit there, and we're a tenth and a half up. But we know where the time is. That final corner. Turn 27 here. It's haunted Verstappen. Will it haunt me? Oh, nudge the wall slightly on the way in. Luckily, we found the apex on the exit and power down up towards the line. Is this going to be good enough for our first ever pole as a Ferrari Formula 1 driver? It is a 27.8. We have done it. Well, Red Bull then have brought the fight to Ferrari here on the Jeddah Corniche, but we have found ourselves on pole position by less than half a tenth a second over Sergio Perez there. Leclerc and Verstappen, I mean, you could cover us all with a blanket at the moment, how close we are at the end of that session. Oscar Piastri ahead of Lando Norris as well is certainly a very, very good result by the Australian, but pole position for the first time ever as a Ferrari Formula 1 driver. Can we convert it into our first ever win?
It's still new to Formula 1, but it has fast, sweeping corners, already making it a favourite. Welcome to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at a topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Stroll, Ricciardo, Albon, Hülkenberg, Gasly, Tsunoda, Behrman, Joe, Vesti, And Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me is Anthony Davidson. Well, it's all about forgetting last time because that was a bit of a shocker. How do they change the story today?
You've got to put it behind you. Whatever happened last time, I was always told as a driver, park it, forget about it. Obviously, feel the pain when it happens, but then you can't dwell on it and carry that through to the next race. So put it behind you and just crack on with this race coming your way now.
Well, we actually got to listen to something interesting there from Anthony Davidson, not about what his pre-race rituals always used to be. Not sure why we were deemed to have such a bad weekend last time out. Yes, we got damaged. That wasn't my fault. And yes, we still got a podium, which, yeah, I was very happy with at the end of the day. But here tonight, I think we could go a little bit better. Are we going to be in the fight for the win? Are we going to be able to keep hold of the car throughout the entirety of this session? Jeddah is all about placement. I've said it so many times. It's a chess match around this circuit. You've got to plan your moves. You've got to plan, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead if you need to. But of course, you can't really plan what's going to happen at the start. I've just got to try and get the power down nice and tidily into turn 1. Waiting then on those 5 red lights here on the Jeddah Corniche. Is lights out, and away we go. Pretty clean, tidy getaway, actually, as I think Sergio Perez going to try to look down the inside at turn 1. Oh, there we go. That's that Ferrari brake oversteer balance rearing its ugly head once again there. And Sergio Perez, he'll say thank you very much. Looks like Leclerc has held on ahead of Verstappen through the first corner behind us, though. They're going to be side by side as we tip our way into the S's on lap 1. And immediately then, there might be an opportunity for Checo and I to try and run away at the front of the field. Their car now obviously is heavy with fuel. Really, really important that you settle down into a rhythm early on here. Obviously, we've got to get used to it, and we can't afford to make any mistakes either. As Perez, yeah, clearly just a little bit more reluctant down in towards turn 12. Just got on the brakes a bit more than I was hoping it would there, but luckily this time round, you might make it through lap 1 without losing our front wing. The joys of not starting near Lewis Hamilton, it would appear, in this series. But yeah, Perez has taken the lead. We drop down to P2. Leclerc, Verstappen where they were. Lando Norris, though, instantly moves past his teammate in Oscar Piastri. Actually want to take a look then at Oscar Piastri's start here, because he did end up losing quite a few places off the line. 5 red lights are on, and those 5 red lights go out then, and he actually initially gets a pretty good getaway down towards turn 1, and then just bogs down in the second phase there. Lando Norris immediately, I'll have a look up his inside down at turn 1. He does get a little bit pinched out over the curbing. I noticed that we ended up out behind the Aston Martins here, so I really want to take a look and see as to just what happened there. Around the outside of his teammates, what a brave attempt to make down in towards the middle sector. I mean, look at this, the McLaren side by side they go. Okay, so it was actually a little bit later on then in the lap. You can see Oscar Piastri down in towards that final corner, just a little lock-up, and immediately goes straight on there, almost rejoins straight into the side of Lance Stroll. But down to P8 then goes the McLaren driver. Not the ideal start for him. Well, I'm not going to try and give Sergio Perez too much of a chance to breathe here tonight. Immediately we're going to try and go on the offensive.
Lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Oh, Perez there, I think, wanted to lock up ever so slightly, but the AI won't really do so if you're on the outside of him in towards that first corner. Around the outside we'll go. Back up into the lead then of the race. But yeah, now DRS is about to be enabled. I think pretty much everybody at the front of the order is going to be in a train. Let's have a look then. How quick is that Red Bull car in a straight line? We know this Ferrari's got some ponies. Oh no, you can see Leclerc and Sergio Perez trying to close in. What is that by Sergio Perez there? Just threw the car down the inside. We were forced to back out of it. I think he did end up backing out of it. But now Charles Leclerc, out of nowhere, is going to move his way into the front of the field. There goes both Red Bulls as well. So immediately left with nowhere to go. Oh, the concertina up is horrendous. Look at that Verstappen from 4th, trying to make the move for the lead of the Grand Prix. Leclerc hangs on. But yeah, welcome to Jeddah, ladies and gentlemen. The slipstream here is ridiculous. Now Verstappen then trying to have a look around the outside of Charles Leclerc for the lead of the Grand Prix. I mean, yeah, I think our Ferrari car naturally is a little bit quicker. Or in a straight line. That's the other thing we've got to be careful of. Don't nudge the walls, which I have not done a good job of. I just rubbed the wall on the exit of turn 12, And already that rear right is up to over 40% wear. Here goes Verstappen around the outside of Leclerc back down at turn 1. We're going to try and get to the inside of Perez on the exit of the corner. Not going to happen that time round. So try and force him defensive. Late on the brakes around the outside of the Mexican. Oh, things are getting very aggressive for just lap 4. Oh, Leclerc again to the outside of Verstappen this time round as we make our way into that final corner. And yeah, you can see whereas the Red Bull's only able to get alongside, the Ferrari car is able to pull right the way past there as again just skimming the wall out of that final turn. Luckily that time around it didn't seem like we got too affected by it. What is Verstappen trying to do? You can't try and put me in a wall there, sir, as all these two are almost 3 wide still back down to turn 1. Verstappen actually backs out of it, maybe rather wisely, and now suddenly Ferrari 1 and 2 in this Grand Prix. Do we work together just to let Leclerc break free slightly?
Hey, that's Charles ahead of you now. Come on, mate, this is it. Let's try and get past them quickly.
According to Mark, then, we don't let Charles try and break away. He wants me to make the move happen as soon as possible. You know what, with DRS here, I don't think it's going to be too difficult. 50% wear, though, on that rear tyre. We're definitely going to have to go for an early box, which is not that useful. Come on, then. We've got to try and power past Charles here, but also make sure that the guys behind are as far out the DRS as we possibly can.
That target, that sets us up nicely for the rest of this race.
So difficult there to try and spot your braking point when it's like that down at the final turn. But once again, here comes our Monegas teammate here. I'm sure after Bahrain, he was hoping I'd just rolled over for him more often. I'll give him the run back down the outside at turn 1. But yeah, when we got a chance to fight, I'm going to go for it. Oh, we got yellows. We got yellows. Someone's got mechanical issues. I don't know who that is. I think it's Lando Norris. Lando Norris, we saw it last season. We're seeing it again this year for McLaren. Just don't have the reliability early on in the campaign. And a safety car now would have been really good for me, as I had no idea Verstappen had that much of a run down in towards the final couple of corners. But Norris, our first casualty here on the Jeddah Corniche. I'm looking at those tyres. I mean, when we don't hit the wall, we've actually got very, very good wear on them. We saw, obviously, last time out just how good we were at monitoring those hards in Bahrain. Could we go for a big undercut and maybe get ourselves back up towards the front runners? Or are we just going to lose out because of the lack of DRS? Oh, here comes Charles again. The AI just used all of their battery down in towards those final couple of corners, and Verstappen will also swoop through. They both lock up! What is that? Both drivers locking up then, so I think either Leclerc made a little mistake and Verstappen got thrown off, or Leclerc saw Verstappen making a mistake behind him and got thrown off. But we go from first to third and back to first in the space of about 4 seconds there. I've seen AI lock up into that final corner, but never 2 of them in one go. Well, maybe this is going to be our first cursed Ferrari strat of the season, but I think what we're going to do is peel into the pit lane then at the end of lap 8. Those rear tyres are not having much fun at the moment. And yeah, to be honest, that front right either is not looking particularly great. We did temporarily break out the DRS window of Leclerc and Verstappen behind us. I think they continue to squabble back down towards turn 1. So we've got to try and take these opportunities where we can. Maybe we'll get the undercut. Maybe we'll come out a little bit further behind. I guess the bigger thing is about traffic and not picking up a speeding penalty. Damn it, man. Got to remember, we got one of the early boxes as well. 10-second penalty is an absolute disaster for us here.
Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
Oh, I cannot believe I've just done that. I mean, a safety car now would be the only way we can try and get rid of that in the second half of the race.
No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
I don't see a way in which we're 6 cents clear of everybody else until the end of the afternoon, as we will come out just ahead of Fred Vesti, who seems to be having a better second race for Kick Sauber than he did a first. Running up in P15 for him. We have to go. Well, this is just a little bit awkward then. We've closed in on Yuki Tsunoda in that Alpine. I'm sure he really wouldn't want to let me by, to be honest. I'm sure he will look over, and every time he sees me in those Ferrari overalls will say something that I probably wouldn't want to repeat on camera. Poor old Yuki Tsunoda. He's had a weird little Formula 1 career so far in this game. Has moved teams every single season. Admittedly, we are only on season 3, but still, round the outside of the Alpine we go. And yeah, that's the advantage that our car has over his. Purple Sector 1, Purple Sector 2.
Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place.
Hopefully we can try and set fastest lap as well, get that bonus point. But I'm just so annoyed because what frustrated me more with that is I thought the pit lane speed was 50, and I had plenty of time to get it slowed down to 37. Just didn't. My brain kind of gave up as we've got a few cars then into the pits. I think that's one of the Williams there. Yep, Alex Albon off his soft compound tyres.
Lap of the race so far.
The fastest lap, but yeah, only him into the pit lane. There was my former teammate Nico Hulkenberg goes for a lock-up.
Use your overtake button more. It's time to utilise some of this energy. Come on.
I mean, if this is the advantage the Ferrari's got over the Haas on this game, it's a miracle I was able to do anything.
I'm setting you a new target. Push, push.
We've got to try and get to 9th place inside the next 4 laps. I've never had a target like this before inside this game. So, oh, come on, Ricardo. We know you're still stinking it up down at V-Carb, but you got to get out of my way at some point. He doesn't really, but I just want to try and move through this traffic as soon as I can. That was a little bit risky. Somehow no front wing damage from that one. We'll live to fight another day, as hopefully we'll be able to get the 3rd move done on Pierre Gasly. And obviously we'll pick up those rewards as well. Gasly there, yeah, having another really good race at his new Haas Formula 1 team. I think he's got decent straight line speed actually towards the top end. Actually very good straight line speed, but down the inside we'll go.
Target well there, nice one. It's a long way to go in this race though, so keep your head down.
A few more cars now starting to peel into the pit lane, seeing more and more of those medium compound runners in, including Max Verstappen. We're going to be ahead of the Dutchman. We're actually going to be a long way ahead of the Dutchman. That bodes well. Charles Leclerc into the pit lane then, as is every other runner inside your top 4. So yeah, I think we are, well, we should be out in the lead of the Grand Prix. We've actually got quite the undercut on Max Verstappen here. I guess the gap is how big. I'm sorry, I guess the question is how big that gap will be. Looking at it, pretty healthy. Actually, as we make our way back down towards Turn 1, I mean, we're kind of at the whim of how they battle.
MFD if you need to.
Verstappen up now into a comfortable P2. But I tell you what, yeah, look at that. Leclerc and Perez over 9 seconds back. Leclerc's 10 seconds back. How have we undercut that much? I mean, effectively, yeah, this race now is a battle of the stopwatch between myself and the Dutchman. We've got to try and pull out a 1.5 seconds over the next 12 laps. Admittedly, we are on harder tyres. We are on older tyres. So it's not going to be particularly easy, but yeah, if Leclerc and Perez continue to squabble as well, that could really do us a lot of favours. The last thing I really need right now is Leclerc getting in Verstappen's range.
Information on Perez. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Well, that is useful. Sergio Perez now potentially with problems, so even if we can't get the jump on Verstappen and Leclerc, maybe we're still in the podium fight. Got 10 laps to go then. That gap to Max Verstappen now is up over the 9-second mark. I mean, really, you know, you'd hope the team would say to Charles, fight him, get your elbows out with him, just battle with each other, and maybe we can help myself, but will Leclerc want to play the strategy game?
9.4 seconds.
I mean, he's gone straight past Verstappen down towards Turn 1, but, I mean, yeah, of course, he's leading the World Championship. Why would he care about allowing his new number 2 driver to take a win? He may as well just try and absolutely destroy me. Oh, there we go, Leclerc and Verstappen, they've gone side by side through the S's. What on earth is that? So suddenly now the gap up and over 10 seconds, almost 11 seconds now over the Ferrari and the Red Bull behind me. So this is suddenly working out very, very well. I was about to suggest that maybe Jeddah's one of the only Formula 1 tracks where battling makes you quicker. Doesn't seem to be the case though for the 2 behind me. And now we are in prime position in the weirdest way possible to try and claim our first ever Ferrari win. I tell you what, when Leclerc and Verstappen aren't battling each other, they're actually gaining in on me still. They're definitely running slightly faster lap times, but the problem is, they just keep going side by side into the corners, and you can immediately see they lose a good 3-4 tenths every time they do it. Verstappen back up into P2. I've got to make sure I still focus on the road. I'm spending so much time looking at the top left corner of my screen, and immediately, look at that, side by side they go into the S's, and the time just opens up for us. Well, the other thing we have still got to factor in is the tyre wear here, and well, we've definitely been taking liberties with those right-hand side tyres again, because that front right up to 45% wear here, but Verstappen and Leclerc, that lap, they were able to get back under the 10-second range. If they just, like I said, work together, I've not really got much of a say on the matter still. They're definitely quicker when they're not fighting each other as Charles Leclerc back up into the net lead of the Grand Prix. Problem is, of course, they both know that, well, whoever gets ahead, has got a better, well, it's got the chance of beating me here, so it's not really in their best interest to fight. It's also not really in their best interest not to fight. It's very, very peculiar. But 5 laps to go. The gap to Leclerc down almost at 9 seconds now. Are my hopes and dreams of victory here slowly fading away? Well, if we want to win this race, we just need to see them go side by side into the S's one last time here. 3 laps to go. From Saudi Arabia, Charles Leclerc again trying to defend from Max Verstappen, but again the Dutchman with those 2 back-to-back DRS zones able to make the move happen and able to get back down his outside on the run towards turn 1. I mean, yeah, if they just coordinate, like I've said, we cannot win this thing, but we're not going to give up right until the very end there. As you can see, that gap is floating around 10 seconds. I mean, I might end up splitting them, which would be, well, quite frankly hilarious, because only I could ever manage that. But Verstappen now on a charge, 9.4 seconds. Oh no, tyre warning lights just flashed up, that's not good. 61% wear on that front right. Imagine if we've got a puncture late on in the day. Is again, Leclerc, when he's behind, is able to slingshot right the way past the Dutchman. This Ferrari definitely has more straight line speed, but DRS means absolutely everything here. It's a bit like Albert Park, our next stop on the Formula 1 calendar. Both circuits are so DRS dependent. While I'm trying to rack my brains, I don't think I've ever had a race like this inside the F1 game where penalties are going to affect things, but we have been so up and down in terms of the margin to that penalty window here. Charles Leclerc, 1 lap to go, still ahead of Max Verstappen for now, but again they're going to be wheel to wheel down into that final corner.
Bring it home.
And again, we're going to see that gap ebbing and flowing around here. We just need one big final last lap push, giving everything that these tyres have got left on them. Verstappen, again, makes the move on Charlie Boy back down to turn 1. Will our teammate, though, be able to fight him, or is it just worth it sitting around waiting as the gap goes up again? I think they've gone side by side into the S's. So that is fantastic news for me. The gap was up to 10 seconds temporarily. 10.1 now, ahead of Charles Leclerc here. It looks like he kept the place over Max Verstappen, so now it could be a fight into the final corner of the Grand Prix. Our tyres are giving up. They have got very little left on them. It is very, very high risk, because any small mistake could be the difference maker here as we navigate our way through the final lap here from Saudi Arabia. Utterly bizarre. Such a silly mistake by myself has put us in this position. The undercut actually worked magnificently today, so Ferrari's strategy clearly actually was a good one. But in towards the final few corners of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc, that gap is almost exactly 10 seconds at the moment. I've got no battery left though. As we make our way down to the final corner, I'm just going to leave the overtake mode on to try and make sure we get every last drop out of the battery through the final corner. Is it going to be our first ever win for Ferrari, for Maranello, up towards the line? It's so close. Is it going to be enough? It's P3.
Yes! Come on, boys! Yes, great drive, great drive. Everyone here is really happy with that performance. Well done, mate.
It's always box office when this man's at the front. Max Verstappen takes the checkered flag.
And you could see that they're just at one with the car. Maybe really well adapted to the new regulations. They've clearly done their homework back at base, so fantastic stuff. And you get the feeling they're going to be hard to stop this season.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They've performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Well, 3 cars covered by less than half a second come the checkered flag tonight, but it was not enough for us. It was not enough for Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen, easily probably the slowest of the 3. He is the one that walks away with a full 25 points there and a fantastic recovery after a terrible season opener last time out in Bahrain there. Max Verstappen back on top here on the Jeddah Corniche. And boy, oh boy, that one really does hurt. We had the pace all night, and it was just that final lap, the slipstream that he gained off of Charles Leclerc, made all the difference there. Alonso comes through for P4 ahead of Piastri and Lewis Hamilton there. Perez, Stroll, Sainz, and Alex Albon gets a point for Williams in the end, so a really good job by the Williams driver there. We are second, though, in the championship, 1 point ahead of Fernando by virtue of that fastest lap bonus point. Verstappen immediately up to P4, though, ahead of Piastri and Hamilton there. But it is still Charles Leclerc that leads the way at the top of the table. Alex Albon becomes our 12th driver to score points, with Carlos Sainz as well opening VCarb's count for the year there. We've still got a big lead in the Constructors, though, ahead of Red Bull, so I certainly think that one is going to be a fight that we can drag out. Aston Martin 3 points clear of McLaren, who both seem to have started the year better than Mercedes, AMG, Petronas. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready, the land down under, for the Australian Grand Prix.